So Josh Tomorrow has now been christened as the next Disney CEO. He is the Disney CEO, which means his first annual shareholders meeting, he gets the same kind of question that every Disney CEO has gotten for years and years and years, and he avoided it like a chief executive officer. New CEO of Disney, Josh Tomorrow, asked the Figment question. So the Figment question is almost anything to do with Figment. They always ask, hey, when are we going to get an update to Journey into Imagination or Journey into Your Imagination or Journey into Your Imagination starring Figment? When are we going to get more Figment at the parks? And here we go. Josh Tomorrow responded to whatever the question was. There it is before continuing. I love the fact that there's so much adoration for Figment. Tomorrow shared, speaking like an AI. Figment has clearly stood the test of time as a fan favorite and continues to spark creativity and imagination across generations. He talked about the fact that they did a How Not to Draw segment on Disney Plus. It's on Disney Plus. You can watch it if you want. I haven't watched that one because I've been watching One Piece season 2.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's good. I wish it didn't have so much cursing in it. So Figment is one of these items that is very controversial to me personally, because Disney has said they're not going to put new IP into the park. They're only going to use existing IP or something they're trying to develop into a film property or a TV property or something like that. They're not going to do specifically make original IP in the park. So the same Imagineering organization that once came up with the Haunted Mansion or the Pirates of the Caribbean or the Carousel of Progress, and of course the namesake of this segment, Journey into Imagination, ... the Figment ride. They're not going to do that anymore. Despite that, Figment is a huge seller of merchandise for the parks. He's legendary when it comes to actual Disney fans. So Figment popcorn buckets, Figment meet and greets. This is what the parks are made of right now. The Disney adults love it.
Yeah, but they're looking back at it kindly with kind eyes and from a nostalgic point of view. And talk about an unexploited original IP. Figment was a park original. He came out of nowhere. He came out of that attraction, and yet they've exploited him at every opportunity, except for in media. Where is the Figment conversation? Where is that? Where there's a lot of things Disney got right originally, and look, even the behind the scenes talk about the attraction, as far as the internal conversations about why it's not redeveloped. Well, after every redevelopment, there's lots of magic lost in that attraction. The first time they did it, they shortened the track and they removed one of the major carousels in there. And, the second time it was adjusted, it was to remove, the heartless storytelling that was left behind. It was like the ghost of Figment. So we got what we have now. That attraction, I believe, needs a fundamental resurfacing in a way that, restores the original outline or outlay of the track and the original intent of the attraction. And I think they're miles away from doing that because they themselves lack the creativity that attraction was designed to inspire in young people.
Yeah, I'm gonna defend Imagineering just a little bit here and say one thing. I think they also lack the budget to do it, because I think that if they did a Figment refresh right now, they would not have the money behind it to actually try to move merchant. I think they kind of like Figment being this obscure item, and they don't want to make him into a current parks thing because they want him to be to have heavy fan interest instead of making him the thing that everybody needs to buy. That everybody needs to know. So that what am I saying here? I'm trying to say that I think they want Figment to be a niche property.
How did that work out for Duffy Bear? It didn't. No. Yeah. That collapsed unto itself. I mean, it was a good idea brought over from a different park, from a different nation. And right. He became an unofficial mascot for the entire whole of Epcot, at least for a period of time.
Well, that's where we're different where they're different in Japan versus over here. Tokyo Disneyland is what do you get if Imagineering cares? What do you get if the entire company cares about what they're doing? As opposed to Walt Disney World, where they just are trying to get their headlines so that they can get people into those parks. The parks right now, I'm sure at spring break, they're crowded, and they're trying to sell a lot of Lightning Lane. Right now, I'm sure that Lightning Lane Premier Pass, if it's not sold out, it is pretty close to sold out right now. So they don't have the motivation to go and add capacity to those parks, because less capacity means more Lightning Lane. So fixing the Figment ride so that it drains capacity for the people who will pay top dollar to go to that park, I don't think they're going to fix that ride. And they're probably, again, they're not going to put the budget into a Figment refresh.
They should. And look, for no other reason than the merchandise movement would increase, tenfold. I mean, you would sell more Figment watches and Figment. He used to be an automatic print money kind of a character. And he was, again, original IP. They claim they have so little of it, or fans do. Anybody who's observing what's happening there. They went to the trouble of building a terrible, replication of what they built in Paris with the rat ride, and and I look at it as like, okay, I didn't mind the ride so much. I think there's going to be something missing with lack of 3D, but that's just me. And I feel like, that had been sitting on a shelf for a long period of time. But Disney has not exploited Epcot the way they have. They're trying to run their parks with a limited number of attractions for the very reason that you said, artificial scarcity. Right. And I also believe, and this is one of the reasons that I get shouted down occasionally, they're running them at less than full capacity all the time. Pirates is an example of that, especially in Magic Kingdom, where there could be far more boats on the water and it could be far better managed than it is now. And they don't even bother, because they want to create a line that would otherwise not exist. The same thing has been happening across the board. And when they take other things off the board, like the additional distractions in area that was Frontierland, which was, one of the most beautiful parts of any park, they're creating more scarcity, right? And I think that the regular fans, the people of the parks, the park fans specifically, have noticed that. Yeah. And I think, so your observation is correct, but the internal conversations don't revolve around that for redeveloping or refreshing attractions that literally could make them even more money. Isn't it more valuable to sell a watch than a Lightning Lane? Isn't it more valuable to sell more merchandise based on an IP?
I would say that, except that Lightning Lane is $450 per person per day if they're on the heavy days. I mean, at Animal Kingdom, yes. Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park, yes, it's more valuable to sell a watch than a Lightning Lane. But the Lightning Lane, that's a digital product at this point, and it incentivizes them to not fix their rides, which they reluctantly said that they're working on maintenance, even though this is another one that gets me about Josh tomorrow, is that he literally could have said, yes, we're putting $30 billion into maintenance and getting more ride time up. And by the way, they just said to everyone out at Disneyland, we got 1.5 million more rides because we've raised uptime. But Josh tomorrow was so committed to not saying anything on that shareholders call that he didn't even bring that up. He didn't bring up hard data. Whoa. So I would say, because we need to wrap this up and get to the next topic. Yeah. With Figment, this is, you're right. It is golden opportunity. If they think that they can move so much Tiana merch from redoing Splash Mountain, putting an entire section dedicated to Figment at the end of a fully restored journey into your imagination featuring Figment, or whatever the combination of words is for that ride.
Convoluted. Yeah.
I can't wait for Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, a new mission at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disney's Hollywood Studios Park at Walt Disney World Resort. Anyhow, I think that they don't have enough faith in Imagineering to do what Imagineering used to do. You think about this ride, which was a Tony Baxter ride under Marty Sklar. Was Marty Sklar in charge of Imagineering at that point?
Yeah, I think so.
Either way,
sure.
You get Billy Barty doing the voice. You get the Sherman Brothers doing the song, and you have something playful and lovable and a new IP that has been able to serve the company for generations. And Disney is not looking for a generational product like they used to have. They're looking for something that moves the quarterly stock price within the next 3 months, and sometimes like a week before the shareholders meeting.
But their recent attempts at doing that have failed miserably, and I'll point towards the Tron coaster, which was disastrous for them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I don't know. I don't think they're even moving Tron merch at the parks.
No.
Even though that's an IP, they could probably do some interesting stuff.
Do you realize Critter Country merchandise was constantly being acquired by guests? How much Tiana gear is moving? Nothing, because it's also not centered around the movie. It's centered around the ride. And I don't have the sales figures for Tiana merch. I just don't see a lot of people talking about it. Now, power-up bands, that's a different issue entirely. So I think it's very clear. Disney, do more Figment. Give us more Figment stuff. By the way, have the guts to put something new in the parks.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.